in the Lab Live podcast, man. And this next segment, episode 20, I'm dedicating this to Sickle Cell Anemia Awareness Month. I stepped outside of what I was doing as far as entertainment and entrepreneurship because I found out by watching another podcast that it was September is Sickle Cell Anemia Awareness Month. And me not knowing this, I decided to bring on my next guest, O.B. Murray, which has been living with sickle cell for 44 years of his life now. That means all of his life, because we got some good information on sickle cell awareness coming up on this show. I'm not knowing that the life expectancy was just before 40 years old if you have sickle cell. I'm not knowing that my bro, O.B. Murray, which we'll have on, I'm not knowing that, hey man, he 44, he already beat the odds, because in this episode you will hear some of the struggles and you will hear the life expectancy of sickle cell awareness. So this show right here, episode 20, is dedicated to sickle cell awareness. If you have loved ones this has been battling this or battled this is a must watch. In the Lab Live with your host, Jack and the Lab Man. Check it out.
Life got me on the high-speed chase. Going the wrong way on the one way, but I'm keeping my faith. Been counting that, looked over from the very beginning. Stay down, never change, got acquainted to win. Hey, life got me on the high-speed chase. Going the wrong way on the one way, but I'm keeping my faith. Been counting that, looked over from the very beginning. Stay down, never change, got acquainted to win.
DJ, what you call the notes right there? In the Lab Live podcast, man, and I got one of my favorite people. I got O.B. Murray in the building with me, man. How you doing, man?
All right, good evening.
Yeah, Mr. Low Key, man. I missed that, man. I missed that, man. But man, how you like the new setup, man? You know, since
it's nice. It's very nice.
Appreciate it, man. Appreciate it. You know, I've been.
It's very luxurious.
Luxurious.
Yes. Very luxurious.
Yeah, man, that's what I'm trying for. You know, I'm trying to go professional. You know, I got my backdrop together. Shout out G Originals Clothing and my artist Dundee. I always shout him out at the beginning. I'm giving that boy free plugs. That's my brother. But yeah, man,
He earning it.
Yeah, you see him?
He earning it.
Yeah, he did that. A lot of people don't know. They think that's vinyl. All this right here, that's hand paint.
Hand painting.
You was asking me about that when we before the show started, and I'm like, a lot of people don't realize how that come together. That boy's talented, man.
Exactly.
Check him out on IG, G Originals Clothing on IG. But yeah, man, you know, I haven't been sitting back doing nothing. I think it's been about it's been about 2 years, all through COVID and everything. We haven't been on the stand together. We haven't been in the lab together. It's been a minute.
It's been a minute. Well, what? COVID was it 2020?
2020, March.
2020, so
yeah.
3 years.
Yeah, I shut it down for COVID. And then I started going back studying. I started studying a lot of podcasts, and I started looking at how different people move in their shows, and how they
It was a blessing in disguise.
Pretty much. I mean, COVID was a blessing in disguise for a lot of people. People that didn't lose their lives, and
exactly,
and people that didn't have to go through loss of life with a loved one or themselves. It was a blessing in disguise because we had time to sit back and get our stuff together.
Exactly.
You know what I'm saying? We had time to sit back and reflect on our life We had time to sit back and reflect on what was, going on with us.
Exactly.
And pretty much,
businesses.
oh yeah, finances, everything.
All that.
Yeah.
Family.
Yeah, we had time to sit back and bring all that back together, where it was good or bad. We realized what was going on, because like with now we in the house together, we didn't have all that free time to move around and get away from our problems. We had to sit in and face our problems.
Yes.
So while doing that, I kind of started studying our old shows back when you, Ambush, and myself started off in the Lab Live podcast. And I just want to say I appreciate you for being down with me and being start having the part in the beginning of in the Lab Live podcast. But I sit back and I studied all our old shows.
Yes.
And so what I did was I used that time to upgrade. I used that time to upgrade our mics, our system, the board,
the whole building.
The
whole building,
the whole setup. I redid the shop, redid the podcast area, the whole nine. But that's what I've been doing the past 2 years.
Yeah, I've been noticing.
Yeah.
You've been doing good, though.
You know what they say.
Like it.
You know what they say. People see what you're doing.
Yes.
But a lot of times they just sit back and watch you.
Exactly.
Yeah.
They may not always comment, but they watch it.
Absolutely. May not always come in and like. And that's not a good or bad thing, just people preferences.
Yes.
Some people have a problem with it. I don't. Long as you see what's going on, that's pub to me.
Yes.
You know what I'm saying? But I want to get to it.
All right.
I'm gonna tell you why I brought you on. You know why I brought you on, but I'm gonna tell the people why I brought you on. I brought you back in with me to have a sit-down conversation in the lab. I had I'm gonna have to turn this phone off. Just hold on a second. There we go. We will not be interrupted today. There we go. I know them mics pick up buzzing, pick up everything. So what I brought you on is I was listening to, I don't think I told you this part. I was listening to Steve Harvey morning show. Every morning I get up, take mom to, every morning that I take my mama to dialysis, she loves Steve Harvey. And so I pull up YouTube and hook the Bluetooth up in my truck so my mama can listen to Steve Harvey morning show on the way to dialysis.
Yes.
And the other morning, we were on the way, and I heard them talking about sickle cell. And I heard them talking about that September was Sickle Cell Awareness Month.
Yes, it is.
I had no idea that September was Sickle Cell Awareness Month.
Yes.
Yeah, and I also.
Does Mama listen to Steffi? Does Mama listen to nephew Tommy?
Oh man, she be laughing, baby. I have to have one of the coolest 90-year-old mamas that I know. She be sitting up laughing at nephew Tommy prank jokes.
I just had to throw that in.
Yeah. But I'm glad they bleep out all the cussing. Yeah. But yeah, she does listen to nephew Tommy. She be sitting back laughing just like me. But you remind me of something. She always has some positive words for me. But they also said that 86%, and I don't know how true this is, one of Steve Harvey's co-hosts on the show said 86% of African Americans either have the trait or have sickle cell. I'll put it to you another way, because people are gonna be like, what? 86% of African Americans have the traits or either sickle cell. All I did was switch it up, trait and sickle cell. Yeah. I don't know how true that is. I don't know where they got numbers from, the numbers from, but that was said in that particular show.
It may be that 86% of those with sickle cell or sickle cell trait are African Americans.
Okay. That make more sense to me.
Yeah, that may be where the confusion is. Sickle cell is known as a African American illness, but it's not just African Americans. You know, I know Hispanic people with sickle cell anemia. There are Asians with sickle cell anemia, but yes, the great majority of those affected by sickle cell anemia are African Americans, and it's because sickle cell comes from West Africa.
Really?
Yes.
See, a lot of, if you don't know it or you don't have a family member that is dealing with sickle cell,
you may not know it.
You may not know it. But wait a minute, we skipped over something. You, my brother, had sickle cell.
Yes.
We skipped over that whole thing.
Sorry.
Let me back up.
Yeah,
let me reel my people back in. Let me back up. That's the other reason why I brought you on, because you my son actually has the sickle cell trait. His dad had sickle cell.
Okay.
Yeah. So and people gonna be like, "What you mean your son, his dad?" Well, that's my stepson, but I don't call him step.
Exactly.
Yeah, so his dad had sickle cell, and he has the sickle cell trait. Exactly. So he don't have crisis like that.
Yeah.
He don't. Yeah, so he don't have crisis like that. So that's why I brought you on, because you're one of the only people that I know that has sickle cell, and to my knowledge, you've been had it all your life.
Yes, it's something. Sickle cell anemia. First of all, it's, as I was saying earlier, it's from West Africa. So majority of those who have it are people of color, and it's the way the body basically mutated to protect itself.
Okay.
You see, in Africa, a lot of people were dying from malaria.
Okay.
And so the body mutated and brought about sickle cell anemia to protect from malaria. Okay. So, for instance, if we were to travel to, let's say, Nigeria or South Africa or Kenya, any part of Africa, you would have to go in and get, the vaccines or the immunizations for stuff that you may end up catching when you fly over there, such as malaria. I would not.
Really?
I would not, because malaria is not going to affect me. I can't catch it because of sickle cell anemia. So it was a natural mutation that the body did over the course of, centuries, basically.
Okay. Question. When did
But it's I will point this out. It's something that you can only be born with. So let me
you answered that question ahead of time.
Yeah.
That's you must know that was my question.
Exactly.
When did you find out, or when did your parents find out that you had sickle cell? Because, like I say, I've been knowing you for what are you, 40? What?
Oh, 44.
You forgot?
Yeah. I have a birthday coming up, so
okay, yeah. So you 44 years
for
old.
Like another month and a half.
You almost 44.
No, I am 44.
You are 44. I have been knowing you literally, I want to say, since you were about 7, 8 years old.
At least.
About 8 years. At least 8 years old.
Probably a little younger. Probably
7, maybe. But because you
somewhere around I want to say nursery and first grade.
Or maybe 6.
I mean, nursery and kindergarten.
You know what?
Nursery and kindergarten.
You're right. I'm trying to give myself
somewhere around now.
I'm trying to give myself a little time. You're right. Now that I think about it, yeah, I've been around your family, been in your family, been close to your family for about 30. Wow.
Yeah, it's been a long time.
About 35, 36 years. Okay. About 36 years. Because ninth grade, I was in ninth grade when I met your brother. Yeah.
Okay.
Yeah.
So did you know us when we was on Wayside, or that was?
Yeah.
Okay. So yeah.
Yeah, I did. But your brother and I met at Sterling in ninth grade.
Gotcha.
Yeah.
Gotcha.
Yeah. So you that's one of them things where you found that you was born with it. Your parents probably had you tested or whatever.
Yeah, what the way it goes is that the question that we usually get is basically how long have you had it? That usually comes from a person that doesn't know anything about sickle cell, but for those who know about it, they'll ask, when were you diagnosed with it?
Right.
Because the only way you can have it is to be born with it.
Okay.
If you wasn't born with it, you'll never have it.
Yeah.
Okay. They could take all the blood out of my body and transfuse it into yours. You won't have it.
Really?
They could give you my heart or my lungs in a transplant. You still won't have it. Okay. That it'll never ever happen.
Okay.
However, so what it is that I was diagnosed when I was 7. That's basically when I found out that I had sickle cell anemia.
Also, I read up on it when I said I was gonna bring you on, and they say you find out within 2 years. Those are just I just Google because I say I gotta have some questions for my boy.
Well, what it is that back when I was born, which was in the 70s, they did not automatically test for sickle cell anemia. And so, for 7 years, I was getting sick, going from doctor to doctor to doctor, and not knowing what I had.
And they didn't know what was going on, what was wrong with it.
Exactly. And so it wasn't until I was 7 that I went to a particular doctor, a pediatrician. I'll say her name because she's still in practice, Dr. Janice Powles. And that's when she diagnosed me with sickle cell anemia. And she did it like almost in an instant. But anyway, however, I want to say somewhere along the 80s or probably late 80s, early 90s, they started automatically testing African American babies for sickle cell anemia.
Really?
So
at birth?
At birth, yes.
Or somewhere close to it? Mostly at birth? Mostly at birth
or close to it. What they would do is they would test the parents first. Once she would get pregnant, once the mother would be pregnant, they test both parents, and that would tell them if they need to test the child. If one of the parents end up with the trait or both of the parents with the trait, then they would go ahead and test the child. But if neither of the parents had the trait or the disease, then they didn't need to test the child.
There's no need to test the child.
Yeah.
So you pretty much explained that in a nutshell because I was going to ask you. Well,
yeah, it's hereditary from your parents. It comes from your parents' genes. So let's say one of your parents has the trait, another parent has the trait, then there's a certain percentage to where the baby, any baby that they have will have sickle cell. Like it could be 50%, where any child that they have together will have sickle cell anemia.
Okay.
And so that percentage is with each birth.
Okay.
Each birth. So, if they were to have 5 children, that 50% is with each birth.
Okay.
All 5 of them.
I got you.
And so forth. And then if one of the parents has the disease and one has the trait, then it goes up to like 75% chance. And that's with each birth as well.
So that answers the question because I had a question for you, like what exactly is sickle cell, but you explained it to me. So I will ask this question since you explained it to me. Why do they call it sickle cell?
Okay. Well, sickle cell is basically it's like I would call it a sibling to cancer. Cancer is basically a mutation with the white blood cells in the body. Sickle cell is a mutation with the red blood cells in the body.
Okay.
With cancer, you have too many white blood cells.
Okay.
And they're extremely strong, too strong. With sickle cell, you don't have enough red blood cells.
Okay.
And the ones you have are too weak.
Okay.
And so, what's the name? They call it sickle cell anemia because the red blood cells are supposed to be circular.
Right.
Like a donut, just without the hole in the middle.
Right.
And they're supposed to be circular and soft, and that way they can squeeze through tight areas in the veins and so forth.
Right.
But when you get sick, when there's not enough oxygen in the blood, the red blood cells will become extremely hard, brittle,
Okay.
and they'll break.
Okay.
And they form a sickle shape, basically, like
Right,
the shape
right.
of a banana, a croissant, or
Okay.
that sickle that they use to chop down grass and so
Got
forth.
you. Got
They
you.
form that shape, and when they form that shape, what happens is they can no longer squeeze through those tight areas in the veins. So what they do is they jam up in those tight areas, kind of
Okay.
like a traffic jam.
Right.
And so when that traffic jam occurs, you're going to feel pain at that spot.
Wow.
And it's going to spread all over the body until that traffic jam is free,
Wow.
until it's undone.
Wow. You blowing my mind with this explanation, man. Because sitting up here looking at you, the way you have carried yourself, all the years I've been knowing you, you wouldn't know that you go through what you go through and the pain that you go through. And I just
Well,
want
thank
to,
you.
I just want to tip my hat to you
Thank
for
you.
being able to endure that for all of these years.
Thank you.
For
Appreciate
real,
it.
for real. And I know your upbringing, so I know that's nothing but God in you.
Amen.
I know you were raised up in the church.
Yes.
You were heavily in the church, and you believe heavily and rely heavily on God to make
Yes,
it through.
yes, I do. I mean, I don't want to preach too much to y'all out there, because all y'all have y'all different religions and so
Right,
forth.
right.
But I'll just be honest. As for me, when it comes to sickle cell anemia, God is number one for me, because without Him, I wouldn't have made it this far.
Yeah.
I know I wouldn't have made it this far.
Believe that.
I mean, it's just the worst thing ever. Imagine just having cancer your entire life.
Believe, yeah.
And you're going to have it from the day you're born to the day you die. And everything you experience with cancer, you're going to experience it all the time, every month, every week, every year, for your entire life. So, yes, I have to put God first for that.
Yeah. And like I say, I really tip my hat to you for that one. To your knowledge, that being said, to your knowledge, where you said it's like cancer. So that brings me to the next question. Tell the people about is there a cure for it? And if there is, what is it, and what are the scientists and the doctors working on?
Okay. Well, at the moment, when we say cure, no, there's no cure, but they are working. There's a lot of hope. There is a lot of hope for the future.
Okay.
There have been some people that have been cured from it.
Really?
Yes. I even have a friend that has been cured from it. And it's just the cures are not 100% right now.
Okay.
But as the decades go by, they get better and better. It started off, from what I can remember, the cure started off around 45%. And now, they got up to 60%. And then now I want to say it's probably somewhere around 75-80%, so forth. But right now, stem cell research is the biggest hope for the future.
Okay.
Because now they can do bone marrow transplants through stem cells.
Okay.
And that has known to cure a lot of people, or shall I say, to have a better, percentage rate of curing the patient and so forth. When I was a kid, I remember one of my friends, he received a bone marrow transplant, but this was before stem cells, and he was cured from it. But back then, the cure rate was very, very low.
Okay.
So I don't know that many that have been cured, but it's getting better.
Okay. Is that something that you're considering or inquired about?
It is something that I did inquire about once, but I believe the qualifications, you had to be under the age of 40. So once I
Really?
hit 40, I just, scratched it.
Oh, okay. Okay. It's always a stipulation,
Yes,
man.
yes, there's a lot of qualifications, and I'll be honest, you have to go through even more pain when to get the cure, you have to go through even more pain to be cured.
Really?
So it's, it's something that you really have to think about. And also, I remember asking them, will my DNA change if I
Explain that. What do you mean?
It was about the stem cells.
Mm-hmm.
I asked them, will my DNA change, or with my or would I get a new blood type and so forth if it works, if I get cured? And they explained to me yes. And so a part of me was kind of like, do I want to change my DNA?
Yeah.
Because I was like, I've been living with it for over 30 years now. So I'm
at that point,
I'm like, I might want to just, stay who I am.
Right.
And now if I had been younger, I'd have probably been like, well, yeah, still bring it on.
Yeah.
Had I been in grade school or something, I'd
Right.
probably been like, bring it on. But since I was in, approaching 40, I was like, do I want to change my DNA? Do I want to change my blood type or whatsoever?
Wow.
Things like that. It's stuff that really makes you think. But that's the thing with the cures, is that it's a 50-50. It's a 50-50 sort of like. It's either you get cured or you pass away.
Wow.
So there's no like going back. It's not like you can. It's not like taking a car to
it's
the
not
mechanic.
like
They fix it.
it's either
you
going
take
to work
it home.
or it's not going to work.
Yes, and it's still not working, and you can take it back or whatever, and go back to. It's not like you'll go back to your old life if it doesn't work. No,
Wow.
either it's going to work and you're going to be cured,
Or
it's not going to work and you're going to pass away. So it's a big decision that a patient has to make.
Man, let me take me a drink of wine because
Yeah.
I had
You might want,
and you know what
might
people
want to drink after thinking about something like that.
people out here in the wine world. Let me let the people pass by. People out here in the wine world, I know that this is not a wine glass, and I brought some wine glasses with me, but the way the table shakes, sometimes I didn't want to fall over.
Okay.
So don't chastise me and don't kill me for drinking wine out the wrong glass.
Out of way.
Because I know the wine
Out of a
drinkers.
spirit glass.
Oh my
Is that
God!
what you mean?
Oh my God! Because I know they're gonna kill me with this one, but
Yeah.
whatever. I ain't never killed nobody. Say it about me anyway. But I need to drink this. We're gonna take a little break.
Oh, had I known, I'd have brought you the little bitty wine glass.
Oh man, yeah, I need the flat kind, but I had the kind with the pedestal on the bottom,
Yeah.
and I didn't. Sometimes the table shakes, the kind of tables these are,
Exactly.
and I didn't want to fall over. But man, I didn't realize this was gonna be this deep when I called you up for this.
Yes. Well, that was one thing. Go
By the
back
way,
to,
this is
to what we.
By the way,
mentioned.
this is Cabernet Sauvignon. I don't even know if I said that right, but
Cabernet Sauvignon.
yeah, it sounds good. But
What year is it?
yeah, I don't know. I'm a liquor drinker. I don't know.
Don't say 2015.
He might be 2020 for all I know. It was given to me by a friend, and he told me it was real good.
Yes,
He told me,
Cabernet is.
yeah, he told me you can smoke it with. You can drink it while you smoking the stick or whatever. So
it is.
that's why he gave it to me, because he know I indulge every now and then. Which right now I haven't been indulging in smoking cigars because of my respiratory issues.
Yes.
But yeah, I had to.
Yeah.
I had to drink me a little wine after this explanation, because this is pretty deep, man.
What's the name? Going back to what we said at the beginning
Mm-hmm.
of the podcast, where we brought up the pandemic and how people were able to reevaluate things over the pandemic and so forth. During the pandemic, the way a sickle cell patient saw it is that everyone else learned what we've already
I already knew.
No.
Yeah.
and what we've already been experiencing for years and decades during the pandemic and so forth. Basically how precious life can be,
Right.
and the hospital systems and all that kind of stuff. And so, for us, it was like, I know for a lot of other people it was eye-opening, But for us, it was like, now you see what what we've been putting up with,
Yeah, yeah.
or
yeah.
what we've been going through.
I never knew because I mean, I know, and I know you go through some crisis and some issues with sickle cell,
Yes.
but I never knew how deep it was. I know when I get that phone call from your brother.
Yeah.
I know when it's serious because he'll call me and say, "Man, pray for little bro because he having a crisis in the hospital or whatever." And I don't let that go in vain. I really pray for you a lot of times when you have been in the hospital and having a crisis.
Now that you brought that up, my brother and my sister, they're like, I remember, I'm gonna tell this quick story. When I was a kid, when we were children, I was probably like 6 or 7 years old. They were trying to get me to play Little League football. And this was before I was diagnosed with sickle cell.
Oh, wow.
So I didn't know it. My parents didn't know it. My family didn't know it. Nobody. So they were trying to get me to play Little League football. I was like, no, I'm not going to do it. They're going to hit me. It's going to hurt. They're going to hit me.
Yeah.
And they just kept saying, oh, you're going to have pads on. Oh, you're going to have a helmet on. Oh,
Yeah.
you're going to have this, all this protection, yada. And I'm like, no. They hit you in that and blah, blah. I'm not doing it. So they was like, well, let's just go to the park and take a look while they having practice.
They were trying to convince you.
Yeah, exactly. Thinking that once I got there, that maybe I'll change my mind.
Yeah.
And so we get up to the park, and they get out the car. I wouldn't get out the car. They was like, oh, come on, let's just go, stand over there and watch them play. And I'm like, no. So they was like, well, how about we just open the door? We just open the door. And so thinking that if they could get the door open, that we would just, that I would change my mind and want to go and enjoy the game and so forth. And so they opened the door, and they kept trying to coax me out the car, and I just kept no, and then I started crying. And so they was like, okay, let's go back to the house. So we leave, we get back to the house. Mom says to him, so how did it go? And they was like, no, Mom, he ain't gonna do it. He started crying, yada, yada, yada.
Right.
Well, this was all before I was diagnosed with sickle cell.
Okay.
Because I knew what my crisis was like. And I knew what my pain felt like
As a kid, you knew you was having these pains,
Exactly.
but nobody didn't know. You didn't want to go through any extra pain.
Exactly. I didn't want to go through any extra pain, unnecessary pain, and so forth. And then at that time, there was no system of what to do when I have the pain.
Okay.
When I go into a crisis, there was no system as to, okay, these are the steps we need to take to get them better.
Okay.
Because we didn't know what I had.
Now, wait a minute. Go ahead.
Okay.
Go ahead. Finish it real quick.
And so,
I'm not rushing you, but
what's the name?
You
Okay.
got this man getting old. I got a question for you
So,
right there.
What's
Go
the
ahead.
name? So then, after I got diagnosed with sickle cell anemia, and the family found out, and my brother, we educated my brother, my sister, and everyone on it. Then that's when, like, my brother and my sister took a whole new persona.
Okay.
And they became like bodyguards
Yeah.
for me.
Yeah.
At that point, they wouldn't let no one touch me. No one hurt me. No one could get in my face. No one could yell at me. No one. I mean, they were literally like bodyguards. You couldn't mess with me, and everybody knew that, hey, you need to watch out for OB, because if you don't, his brother and his sister gonna get you.
But at that time, how did that make you feel though? Did it make you feel like closed in? Like, did it make you feel what they call it? When you
Well, at that time, at the time when once we found out,
right?
well, at that time, it was just more of a relief that, okay, now we know that it's something, and that it's something, and that there's other people out here with the same problem.
And you walk around here like I tried to tell y'all.
Yeah, exactly. Exactly.
Yeah.
And so, I mean, fast forward, once I got in middle school, I wanted to play football.
Right.
And my doctor wouldn't let me, and I begged her. And she was just like, nope. I started crying, and she was like, nope, I can't do it. But anyway, what's the name? But at that point, there was a regimen. Once I was diagnosed, we started learning more about sickle cell anemia. They put me in touch with a sickle cell nonprofit organization that would help educate us.
Hold up. Man, it's a
Yeah.
busy night tonight.
Busy
I don't
night.
know what's going on, but this a busy night tonight. But come on, let's get it.
But they put us in touch with a sickle cell nonprofit that would help educate us and so forth on sickle cell anemia. And so once it became a regimen of, okay, this is what you have, this is what you can do to not get sick, and if you do get sick, this is what you can do to get better, then it became, better. It became like, okay, well, I can do this.
Okay.
At least I know what to do now.
Okay.
You know.
Question.
Yeah.
Well, before I go to this question, man, this show right here, we're going to get to this. We're going to get to that question in a minute. But, I have a bad habit of waiting till the end of the show to talk to you about my sponsor. Well, I am my own sponsor.
Okay.
My sponsor is Jack's Real Beard Care. That is my beard care. That's my beard line. When you grow one.
Exactly.
When you grow one, might be able to help you out. But right here, I have the beard wash, the beard conditioner, the beard butter, and in the front, I have the beard oil. And wrapped up in here, I have my own personal beard brush. And you can get this on realbeardandbarber.com or just come by the barbershop. And I'll take pride in that. And my whole slogan for my beard care is, if you want your beard happy, put that on the nappy.
Oh, that's a good one. When you said the word happy, I knew nappy was going to come here so well.
You know what I'm saying? I got sound effects and everything for you. Yeah.
But that's a good one.
Yeah, so that's my sponsor for the show. I'm my own sponsor. And look.
And hey, today with the way us guys wear beards today, you need to you need to do that. Take care of your beard. Women take care of their hair when they shampoo their hair. Take care of your beard.
Who best to give you something to take care of your hair or your beard is a barber.
A barber.
That's what I'm talking about. That's why I came up with it. So I'm real passionate about it.
Yeah. You think you can mail some of that to James Harden over there on the what is he on the East Coast? Is he on the East Coast now?
Yeah, he on
what team?
Yeah, he on the East Coast. That's right, he in Philly.
Philly now.
Yeah,
okay.
yeah. Hey man, I'm working up to it, man. Who knows? Who knows? With God, anything is possible. I may be able to get him to be a sponsor. Yeah.
Oh, yeah. He could use some of that.
Yeah. Straight up.
He could use your barber skills on that beard too.
Yeah, he go out there wild sometimes. But yeah, man.
I guess James say as long as the hair is nice.
Yeah, he stay braided up, and but he don't care nothing about that beard, man. But like I say, who knows? Somebody plug me in. Whoever knows James Harden, any other of them beard wearers out there, plug me up, man. Jack's Real Beard Care, man. That's my sponsor for the day. Let's get back to it, man. Question: you brought up something in your last story about you knew something was going on with you even as a kid, right? Right now today, how do you know when you're having a crisis? Or do you know a crisis is about to come on, or is it sudden?
Oh, we get this question a lot.
I mean, hey, that's what I want to know, because I never, you know me, I never ask you anything. I just call you up or text you and be like, hey, man, you okay? You all right? And you be like, hey, I'm in the hospital. And I get mad at you all the time. Why you didn't tell me? But how do you know it's coming on? Or is it a sudden thing? It just hits you? Sometimes like you wake up out to sleep, not comparing it to the flu, but you wake up out to sleep and you sick. You know what I'm saying?
It's both. Sometimes you will feel it coming on, and sometimes you'll just wake up in the middle of the night and in extreme pain.
Really?
And have to go to the emergency room or something.
Is it something that you do that causes it, or like overextending yourself or stuff like that?
Sickle cell patients need to, first of all, we need to drink 8 glasses of water a day. And, to the rest of the world, that may seem easy to do, but the more water you drink, the more you're going to run to the restroom.
Man, I was just telling you that because I'm trying to get some of this weight off me, and I drank 3 bottles of water earlier, and I'm like, man, I hope I make it through this show.
Yes, yes. And after a while, you get tired of running to the restroom.
Exactly.
You know, especially if you're busy doing stuff, you don't want to have to keep stopping to run to the restroom and so forth. And so, but yes, we need to drink 8 glasses of water a day, and you need to run to the restroom all the time and so forth. But even with, we basically know that if we get too busy and we're moving around too much, yes, you're going to get sick.
Yeah, because you know what? Speaking of that protective thing that your brother and sister do.
Oh yeah.
Sometime I've taken on that as well. Just like a couple of years ago, we was doing that voters registration drive, and you know you gonna go and go. You gonna help. You gonna help, and you don't think about getting sick. But I'm sitting there looking at you. I'm like, man, it's hot out here. Like, OB, chill. Like, you don't have to do this. Hey, man, you all right? You good?
My brother did the same thing. He was there that day, and he did the same thing to me. He was like, hey, you need to be doing that right now? Can't you go sit down for a minute? Or can't you? You know, and I grew up with him doing that to me as well. That where I'd be outside playing with my siblings and my cousins, and my mother or my aunties or my uncles, they'll call me in the house. Hey, come in, sit down for 10 minutes.
Right.
You know, and they'll make me sit down and relax for a few minutes and stuff like that. Even at summer camp, I grew up going to summer camp for children with sickle cell anemia. And so even at summer camp, every single day, we would have a rest period, a rest hour, where all of us, all the campers had to go inside and get in their beds and lay down for an hour.
Oh, okay.
And so forth.
Okay. So
and even with doing that, we would still get sick throughout the week. So,
but what helps it is rest and hydration.
Exactly. Resting, hydration.
Yeah.
Exactly.
Yeah, because I see you drink a lot of Gatorade, Gatorade and water.
Yes, Gatorade and water.
Okay.
Gatorade I drink for the potassium pretty much because my body doesn't make enough potassium.
Okay.
But mostly water.
Okay.
And you need a lot of rest. To be honest, you're not really going to get that much rest in life, but you know, you just get as much as you can. Get as much as you can and stay prepared, you know, for when you do get sick.
Right.
When you do get sick,
so
stay
you absolutely have to take care of yourself. You can't be out here, and I'm not trying to be funny when I say this because you can't be out here doing drugs.
No.
Like you can't be out here like smoking a bunch of weed, doing crack, doing cocaine. You can't be out here doing none of this
drinking
stuff.
Too much,
drinking all that hard liquor.
No.
You see me. You see me. I don't have no hard liquor up here, and I gave you water.
Yes.
Yeah.
Exactly.
I respect the guests. I respect the guests. I gave you water.
Yeah. You have to take care of yourself because otherwise those things are just going to make it worse.
Right.
You know. I mean, yes.
It'll tear down your immune system.
Exactly. Yes. We all know that. You know, I smoke cigars from time to time.
Oh yeah.
But let me tell you something. I'm 44 right now.
Right.
I'm not married. I have no children.
Right.
And I didn't start smoking cigars until about 10 years ago.
Yeah.
That's when I really started.
And everybody looking at you like,
yes.
Are you supposed to be doing that?
Exactly.
Yeah.
Exactly. So I was 34 when I started smoking cigars. But before then, I didn't smoke at all.
But you know what?
I didn't smoke.
You know what? Nobody's perfect.
Yeah.
Nothing is perfect.
Exactly.
You need to have some kind of go-to, some relaxation.
Exactly. Yeah.
You can't be just all straight and narrow. I don't do nothing. You know.
Exactly.
You gotta have that's social.
Well, when people come to me now and they be like, "Come on, OB, you know you're not supposed to be." Or first thing I tell them is, "Well, I can't be perfect." Cause I tell them if I don't do this, then what am I? I can't be perfect.
Right.
So you know, you want me to do something else? Or, you know.
Nah,
but-
I read the cigar smoke. I don't want to see
Yeah.
you out here.
Although I'll be honest, if I was married with children, no, I wouldn't even smoke.
Really?
Yeah, I wouldn't even smoke. When I was young, I never liked smoking. Never liked it.
What's the knowledge behind that?
Well, first of all, with sickle cell anemia, when you go into a crisis, you can't breathe. You
See, I didn't
have
know
trouble.
that.
You have trouble breathing.
I didn't know
the
that.
reason why you're in a crisis is because there's not enough oxygen in the red blood cells, and so what you need to do is get more oxygen in your red blood cells. And as we all know, smoking, it makes it even harder to breathe. Smoke makes it even harder for a person to breathe.
So let's say,
When I was a kid, my uncles, they would roll down the windows in the car to smoke, and then they remember I'm in the back seat and they be like, "Oh, I'm sorry, you okay, OB? I'll put it out. And, sometimes, I'd be like, yeah, put it out, and then sometimes I'd be like, no, you cool, Unc, you cool,
Yeah.
you all right, or
Yeah.
just let down my window,
Okay. So it's safe to say you do it in moderation.
Exactly.
You just not sitting there firing up cigars
No.
every day.
No, I'm doing it in moderation.
Now, have the doctors ever told you about it, or have you told them you smoke cigars?
Yes, I've told my doctor. That's another thing.
I know you're a pretty honest guy.
If you have sickle cell anemia, don't lie to your doctors. Don't lie to your doctors. The blood test is gonna reveal everything anyway. Everything they test us for, man, it's gonna reveal everything anyway.
Right.
Blood, hair, skin, all this, everything they get from us when we go to the hospitals, it's gonna reveal everything anyway. So you might as well just tell them the truth. But no, yes, my doctors do know. Yes, they do bring it up to me from time to time. They'll ask me how often am I smoking and so forth, and have I cut back or have I increased, or is it still the same or whatsoever, things like that. But yeah, I've even cut back on what I was already doing.
Right. So that brings me to this question. Tell me a little bit about your care, your doctor's care when you're in the hospital.
Okay.
Like when you go, not just your visits. I mean,
Yes.
when you have a crisis,
Okay.
and go to the hospital. What is the care about? What do they do for you?
Well, when we go to hospitals, clinics, emergency rooms, basically they're going to hydrate us with fluids.
Mm-hmm.
That's number one.
Mm-hmm.
They're going to give us oxygen, basically give you the mask and so forth. They're going to give you heating pads, because that helps as well. You want to put heating pads where the pain is and around your joints and so forth. And then they're going to, the only other thing is two other things. That's the pain medication. They're going to give you pain medication. Pain medication helps you deal with the pain that you're having at that moment.
Okay.
The fluids help you keep from having pain in the future.
Okay.
Basically, it's going to help take the pain away. But until the pain is taken away, the pain medication and the heating pads are going to help with that. And the oxygen, it's going to do the same as the fluids, help take the pain away.
Okay.
But the medication and the oxygen, the medication and the heating pads just help you cope with the pain at the time.
Okay.
And then there are a lot of things that they do is give us blood transfusions. So for those of you who have good blood, if you have good, clean blood, come on, don't lie to yourself. Okay.
When they
might lie to yourself, but when they test your blood, they gonna know.
Yeah.
So if you have good, clean blood, please donate blood.
Man.
And let me tell you right now, African Americans are one of the smallest communities that donates blood.
I believe that. You know why I know that?
Yeah.
Back before I went to that was my next to last job. I used to work at the blood
bank?
center. No, the blood center.
Okay.
And I used to work at the blood center, and I used to go there, and I witnessed a lot of us.
Yeah.
Were not in line.
Yes.
Were not on them beds and them cots giving blood, because I used to be the pickup driver.
Yeah.
I was one of the pickup drivers for the blood center, so I know what you're saying is
Yes.
true.
Yes.
You know how we are. I ain't
Yeah.
doing that. I'm scared of those needles. Or they make any old excuse not to give blood.
Yeah, that and the fact that they don't trust the system.
All of this, but check this out. The minute you go to that hospital, you need a blood transfusion.
Yeah.
Please, doc. Please. Yeah.
Or
So
if you have surgery,
you need blood. So that's one of those things where, donate.
Yeah.
And you know what? I'm not gonna sit up here and say that I just go donate.
Yeah.
Maybe that's something I need to do better. I need to clean some of this wine and stuff.
Our sister. Let me get it out of my system.
No. Yeah, but that's something we all need to do better, including myself.
If you can donate blood quarterly, basically every 3 months. If you just donate once a year, that's better than nothing.
You help.
Yes.
Right.
Now, I mean, yes, as a patient, you don't have to. The blood doesn't have to come from a black person if you're a black patient.
It's just about the type.
Yeah, exactly. It's the blood type.
Right.
So, I'm AB positive, so I can still get blood from white people, Hispanics, Asians, it doesn't matter the race.
Right.
However, all of us, all races, we should donate blood a lot and so forth. But a lot of, as we said at the beginning of the show, 86% of those with sickle cell anemia or sickle cell trait are African American.
I'm glad you cleared that up because I thought that was a high number. I'm like, that don't
exactly. It don't sound right.
Yes.
Seeing you said I'm the only what?
What?
Earlier you said I'm the only sickle cell what?
Oh, person that I know that's been dealing with it and that's been dealing with it for life.
All through grade school, elementary, middle school, high school, all those people.
I can't.
And so if it was 86% of the black population, you know a lot.
I heard it wrong. I'm glad. Yeah. But I guess they said it.
Yeah.
And sometimes we read wrong. Sometimes we read wrong into what people saying. That's why I wanted to get you on here to clear that up as well. Because if I thought like that, how many other people that was listening to this show that day?
Exactly. Because that means 8 out of every 10 black people you know.
But when I thought about it, it really was like, that don't make sense. I'm going to talk to OB about that because that brings up another thing I read about it. It's actually rare.
Yes.
Yeah, it's actually rare. Yeah.
It is.
I want to say, I don't know, I read the number 200,000 a year and that's a low number for the world population that's born with it or something like that. But that's a real low number for the billion people that's in the world.
Yes.
Yeah.
Yeah. The majority, of the like if we were basically in Africa, yes, it would be a large percentage of the population with sickle cell anemia. But because we live in the U.S., it's very melting pot. So it's a very smaller percentage, but it's 86% of those with it are African American, and but not 86% of the black race.
You know what's crazy? I don't get it. Why so many things come from Africa? Well, so many diseases, so many viruses.
I know the.
What is this about?
I know the skeptical part of our brain, when it comes to race and discrimination and prejudices, want to say, well, why they want to say it come from Africa, or why all these diseases come from Africa or whatsoever. But we have to start thinking of, instead of thinking with that side, you have to think with your knowledge side of your brain of where civilization began. Civilization began in Africa. So pretty much everything comes from there.
I'm telling people that Christopher Columbus and all the rest.
Yeah, Christopher Columbus done lost his day. I felt kind of bad for Christopher.
Yeah, I have a tough question, and I really don't want to ask it, and I contemplated on asking this question.
Okay. Is it a personal one? Is it?
No, it's not personal. It's something that's out there.
Okay.
It's not personal with you,
Okay.
like per se. It's about your condition,
Yes.
but it's not with you. And because I hate to look at life like that. You know, we like we selfish, but then if you believe in the word, you know that
Yes.
this life is not forever.
Exactly.
So my question to you is, what's the life expectancy of people with sickle cell? And it's a two-part question.
Yes.
And how do you deal with it? Because I know I read some things. And how do you deal with it? And life expectancy only means the percentage of
Yes.
whatever. And how do you deal with it mentally? What's the life expectancy?
Well, when I was diagnosed, life expectancy was, in teenage years, basically 12, 13, 14 years old.
Wow.
And now, as far as like with the health system that we have here in the States, what the life expectancy is, I want to say it's probably anywhere from 25 to 35
Really?
years of age.
So pretty much you've already beat the odds.
Yes.
Okay.
Yes. Although I'll be honest, I call myself an anomaly because I say I'm lazy.
Some people don't know what that means. OB, you need to tell. You need to tell them what that means. And I might ask you. I might ask you to spell it for them because, like,
I'm not the average.
Okay.
And it's because I'm not working anymore.
Okay.
And so I call myself lazy. I'm lazy, basically. I'm not working. If I was working, I'll be honest. Yes, I've lost a lot of friends to sickle cell anemia. I started losing them when I was in my college years.
okay.
So I've lost friends in their 20s, in their 30s, some in their teen years, their high school years, and so forth. But if I had continued to work, if I hadn't stopped working when I did, and I continued to work, yeah. That would have been my life expectancy.
And here we are, these idiots, and we also have friends that's damn idiots. And here we are, our friends losing lives to violence and gun violence and health issues because of the choices we make. And here y'all didn't even have a choice.
No.
And y'all losing lives early.
Exactly. Yeah, I mean, no offense to those who have other illnesses through maybe fault of their own or fault of someone else.
Oh no.
No offense to them.
I'm just saying I'm just saying we had choices.
Exactly. We didn't have a choice. Right. We didn't have a choice. We were born with it. Yes, if you gave us a choice, some of us probably would have been hard-headed and still got it, and some of us wouldn't have.
But you know what? When I say we have a choice, what I mean by that, some people may even be born with AIDS. Some people may be born with, some people may be born or acquire diabetes at an early age and didn't have a choice.
Yeah.
When I say, let me explain what I mean when I say we have choices. You go, this is a cut and dry explanation. You go to the doctor, right?
Yeah.
Hey, you borderline diabetic. Hey, you borderline high blood pressure.
Yeah.
And I'm speaking to myself as well.
Yes.
I try to do better, fall off, try to do better, fall off, right? At the end of the day, if blood pressure, diabetes, or anything, cholesterol, or anything of that nature is my or anybody's demise, and somebody told you that you need to do better, that's what I mean when I say we have choices. No other way. Because people will get on here and turn what I said
around.
They'll turn that around.
Exactly.
So that's why I threw that explanation out there, what I mean.
And, I find that ironic because, us sickle cell patients, we look at people like people with cancer, people with diabetes, lupus, leukemia, whatever. We also don't look at them as if it's their fault that they have it. You know, sometimes it's just hard to change. You know, when you've been living a certain way
Right.
for decades,
Right.
it's hard to turn away from it. I mean, look at Tom Brady. He retired for what, 2 months?
Yeah.
You know, I mean, when he's been living a certain way for
Yeah.
decades, it's hard for him to walk away from it.
Yeah.
And it's a lot of people, you know, look at Queen Elizabeth, who just passed away, who they just buried today.
Right.
What, you know, she was living a certain way for so many decades. It was, you know, she didn't say, well, oh, I'm 86. I'm going to retire. I'm going to retire as queen. Let my son take over. She
Right.
didn't say that. She kept
Kept
going all the way to the last day. You know, and so we don't look at the other illness, the other patients with their illnesses as if they had a choice. But unfortunately, sometimes when we go to hospitals, emergency rooms, sometimes we can run into a doctor or a nurse or a medical professional that'll look at us as if we had a choice if we wanted to get sick.
Yeah.
Meaning they know we didn't have a choice of having sickle cell.
Right.
But sometimes we'll run into that 2% out there that'll look at us and be like, well, why didn't you drink enough water?
Yeah.
And it's like, I mean,
Nah.
you know,
That
you have people that drink coffee for breakfast or coffee when they wake up in the morning, orange juice with their breakfast, maybe what, a lemonade or an iced tea with their lunch,
Right.
and then a soda with their dinner or whatsoever. Us,
nowhere in there did you mention water.
yes, exactly.
Yeah.
And us drinking those items that I just mentioned, just drinking one of those in a
Right.
day, we could literally feel the water being drained out of our body.
Right.
So if I go to drink me a coffee from, I'm not going to say the name of the coffee place because
Please don't. They're not
because they
paying
not
us.
paying you. So they're not a sponsor. But if I was to go to one of these coffee places, give me a nice coffee, I have to drink even more water now because that coffee is going to take even more out of my body.
And that's a
you
fact.
Now, if I drink some apple juice or some iced tea or some hot tea, that's even more water I have to drink.
And
now.
those are
so forth.
choices.
Exactly, and
Right.
those are choices.
Right.
And sometimes you just want to enjoy life with your friends.
Right.
You know, everybody's out. They fist to make a toast. They making a toast with champagne. Maybe you don't drink champagne that
Yeah,
often.
yeah.
You
But you have one that day.
Yeah, you have one that day.
you
want-
gotta-
I want to taste champagne too.
Yeah.
you know?
You have to hydrate after that.
Exactly.
You have to
Yeah.
hydrate highly after that.
Exactly.
Right.
But you know, to say, and sometimes we just get too busy moving around to the point that we don't stop and drink water.
And that, then
'cause
you know
we
what?
just
And
busy.
that's with anything. That's just with
Yeah.
life.
With life. Like I said, when my brother and sister, my parents, my aunts, uncles, they would have to make me come in from playing when I was a kid. They would have to make me come in from playing and sit down for 10, 15 minutes while the rest of my cousins and my siblings can continue ripping and running, playing outside.
Right.
You know, so it's why we have that 2% that act that way. I don't know. But
Yeah, that's correct. But you know, in every walk of life, you got shallow-minded individuals.
exactly.
So it's safe to say, I asked you how you deal with it mentally. It's safe to say, me knowing you,
Mentally, God.
me knowing you, and me knowing your family, I know that was going to be
Bible.
your answer.
Yeah, the Bible.
Yeah.
That's how I deal with it mentally. The Word of God. There's a verse in the Bible. I want to say it's Psalms 102, where it says, "Hear my prayer, O Lord, and let my cry come unto thee. Hide not thy face from me in the day when I am in trouble. When I call, answer me speedily." When you go into a sickle cell crisis, you're going to cry.
Yeah, I can't imagine.
Even as an adult,
Yeah.
you still cry.
Yeah.
There are some times when we'll hold back the tears. There are some times when we'll hold back the tears and so forth, but then there are some times when we won't. So,
Yeah.
but God, that's
Oof.
how I deal with it.
Hey man, like I said, this deeper than I thought it was gonna be, but I'm glad I brought you on. I got a lot of education out of this, and I hope that a lot of other people take this with them. They have someone in their life, a child, uncle, auntie, brother, sister, daddy, whatever the case may be. I hope they take this education, because you gave, my new word is big everything. You gave big education to the people today.
If you don't mind, can I leave the people with some information?
That's my question before we wrap up. We've been doing this a long time. We've been around each other. It's just a connection that we have. We've been around each other. But any fundraisers, foundations that people can donate to or get involved with to help out the sickle cell community.
Yes. Well, we just wrapped up a fundraiser where we had the sickle cell.
Oh, wait a minute. Wait a minute. Hold on. No. The reason why we wearing red and black, we went this whole show.
Yes.
And when you told me the other day, you said the colors are red, but first you said red.
Yes.
Then you text me a couple of days later, you said it's red and black. Yes. I say, damn. I just wore red on the last show. Let me go find something. So I bought me a red T-shirt, and I got my little red and black drip. I got my red and black drip. You know what I'm saying? I'm representing for the sickle cell community for sickle cell anemia in September. This is awareness. I see you in your drip over there, but that's the reason why we wearing red and black. And hey. My logos, I'm already.
And it just happened to go with your logo.
It just happened to go with my logo, man. But yeah, tell the people about the foundation and the fundraisers that they can help out with or donate to.
Yes, with this being Sickle Cell Awareness Month, the month of September, the colors for sickle cell, as he just said, is red and black. And so this month, the Sickle Cell Association of Houston did a sickle cell walk. And that was actually just this past Saturday.
Really?
They did a sickle cell walk at McGregor Park. They do it every year at McGregor Park. So if you missed it this year, don't worry about it. You can come next year.
Right.
Okay, come next year, or you can still go online and donate to them. So you can go to sicklecellhoustonwalk.com and you can donate there. They'll be taking donations for the sickle cell walk up until I believe it's October 31st, so you can still go and do that. Also, you can go to Facebook. They're on Facebook at Sickle Cell Association of Houston. Okay. You can find them there. Okay. And now we actually have our own clinic. I know everywhere you go, you see cancer clinics,
right?
Where cancer patients go for their treatments and so forth. Where some of us sickle cell patients were going to those same places for our treatments during the day to keep from going to the emergency room. Sometimes we go to the cancer center for treatment.
Okay.
Well, what's the name? Now we have a sickle cell clinic where it's just for sickle cell patients.
Okay.
Where we go for our doctor's appointments, our prescriptions, and our treatments, our clinic, our infusions and so forth when we get sick. It's called the UT Physicians Comprehensive Sickle Cell Center. It's located at 1200 Ben Street. That's Suite 850, Houston, Texas, 77004. The phone number there is 713-486-5660.
Okay.
That's 713-486-5660. You can also find all this stuff if you just Google it or go to Google Maps or Facebook and just start typing in sickle cell. A lot of it will pop up and so forth. Now, I know the sickle cell clinic, it says that it's in Suite 850, but it's really the 8th floor. We have the whole 8th floor of that.
Gotcha.
So it's just the 8th floor.
Gotcha. Okay. That's it?
Yes. You have another question?
No.
Okay. I will say this. This one last thing. One of the hardest times of a sickle cell patient's life is 2 times. A, when they're diagnosed, and B, when they become an adult, when they turn 18, because then you have to transition from your pediatrician to a hematologist. And so that becomes, a lot of sickle cell patients get attached to their pediatricians because unlike the average person who sees their doctor maybe once a year or once every 6 months.
Yeah.
A lot of us, we start off seeing ours every month.
Okay.
And then, or we'll see them every other month, every 3 months, stuff like that. But anyway, and so anyway, but the Sickle Cell Clinic and the Sickle Cell Associations, they can help you with all that type of stuff.
Okay. Okay. Hey, man, listen, I appreciate all the information.
Well,
I appreciate you educating everyone on sickle cell anemia.
Well, thank you. First of all, let me say thank you, Jack.
Hey, man.
For doing this, because I'll be honest, us sickle cell patients, when we hear the word sickle cell on TV or the radio or in a magazine or whatever, our ears perk up.
Yeah.
And it's because we don't hear it often.
I was just going to say that.
We don't hear it often.
That
thank
was one
you
that I appreciate.
for recognizing our month and giving us this episode.
Hey, I appreciate it. And you know what? Everything happens in perfect timing. Things don't happen when you want it to happen. It happens in perfect timing. And when I heard that on the radio, you were, of course, the first person I thought about. Because if you remember, we talked about doing a whole sickle cell show a couple of years ago, but it never happened because the show was in a whole nother direction then.
Exactly.
But I jumped up and I started doing things a different way. And I said, man, you know what? I want to start interviewing.
Yes.
So me doing this is real life.
Yes.
Me doing this is natural. Me being a barber, this is what I do on the regular.
Yes.
Sit back and talk to people.
And I'm to be honest, I'm glad you changed the format. I really am. for that pandemic, that shutdown came at a good time for me.
Yeah.
Because boy, I didn't want to say anything, but I was getting exhausted. I was like, man.
This
is getting. Compared to how you all work, 40 hours a week or more, I wasn't even doing that much.
Yeah.
But even that I was doing, it was like, oh.
Yeah, because we was out of line, man. We was working and we was drinking, we was smoking cigars, we was working at 2, 3, and 4 in the morning. But I did that because of as you can hear the road noise because of where the building is. But it's all good as long as we getting that good information out.
Exactly.
And like I say, I appreciate you appreciating me, but I appreciate you for coming on and sharing that information.
Thank you. Appreciate it.
Yeah. Obie Murray, everybody. Yeah. But hey, look, I hope everybody got all that good information, man. And check this show out because it's coming up. Maybe I'm gonna try to drop it before September ends.
Okay.
Any 2 ways, it doesn't matter because as long as they get the good information
Sickle
that you
cell
share.
is 365 days a year.
Absolutely.
So anytime you drop it is good for us.
Absolutely.
All right. And like I said, if you have clean blood, donate because 100% of the patients with sickle cell anemia are children. 100% are children, and the majority of us that get blood transfusions are children. We get less transfusions once we become adults. We start getting less transfusions.
Right.
But majority of the transfusions go to kids.
Okay.
So they need it. Our little black children need that blood.
Okay. Hey, man. Appreciate it, man. Obie Murray in the Lab Live podcast, man. Check it out on YouTube. We out.